Hey gang, Ronan here. As you can see in this game, I am playing the Tier 6 IJN Destroyer Fubuki, and I am divisioned with Ramagar in the Tier 6 Grafspe. We are top tier, which is always an amazing thing at Tier 6. I fully expected when this game launched that we would be contending with Tier 8 ships and probably a Tier 8 CV. But not only are we top tier, there is no CV. Now Fubuki, I like Fubuki. I think it's a very fun ship to play. It's a ship that, for whatever reason, I've struggled to get wins in, historically. I just kind of chalk it up to roll of the dice, sometimes, and I'm not the only one to say this, sometimes there's really no way with the team that you're dealt there's going to be a win happening. I heard a CC the other day say something along the lines of roughly 40% of games you can make an impact on, and the other 60% are the sort of steamroll that no matter what you do, it's not going to make a whole lot of difference. Either your team's kind of destined to win or destined to lose, and nothing you do is really going to change that outcome. We can debate the numbers, but I think the sentiment is pretty accurate. And so that's why I don't feel too bad about my numbers in the Fubuki. Just, I think a certain amount of random chance, getting stuck on teams that it doesn't matter how good you are, and I'm a good player. I don't consider myself great, but I'm a good player, and sometimes there's just nothing you're going to be able to do. I get detected pretty early, and there's a lot over there, so I'm just going to angle up a bit here, and you can see a lot of incoming fire, and I'm going to go ahead and smoke. If the Acasta does decide to torpedo, I've got a little bit of time here to tighten up my angle even more and avoid his torpedo strike. Now, I did throw one set of torps into that channel there, and it looks like we had 2 DDs, so I'm really, really glad that I smoked up, because a guy that can hit pretty hard. I do manage to land 1 torpedo, and I've accelerated, because that's just 1 DD's worth of torpedoes, and I expect there are probably going to be more. Why this guy pushed in? I don't know, but he did, and with Ram right behind me, and smoke to keep me from getting spotted, he's going to have a very tough time surviving. So Königsberg, it looks like, is what I hit with the torpedo. Yeah, this guy's in big trouble. He's going to keep me spotted for a second, but it's alright. And Ram finishes him off. Königsberg's burning down. No sense putting guns on him. He's already gone. Now I can remember in the game saying something along the lines of that Königsberg keeps running broadside to you like that, he's not long for this world. Königsberg's made of paper, and Grafspe has really big shells, so a certain amount of overpen is bound to happen if you don't sit it down. Yeah, there's the guy that again got me detected. Put a couple torpedoes out there. Put a little bit of something to worry about in front of the Dunkirk, and you can see I'm getting beat up a little bit. I've got a good long while until I can use smoke again, so I'm really, really hoping to see the guy to continue along his current track, because if he turns in toward me, he's going to keep me spotted. Take a little bit of chip damage. I've lost almost 6,000 hit points. Königsberg's going down.
We've destroyed an enemy cruiser.
I have to be really careful here, because the Gaida has, well, the guns on the Gaida are pretty decent, and they In a straight-up gunfight, I think the guy that beats the Fubuki pretty much every time. The Japanese destroyer guns, they hit pretty hard, but as you can see, the turret traverse is terrible, and the reload is terrible. Not that Gaida is a machine gun or anything, but by comparison, Gaida will outgun Fubuki in a straight-up fight pretty much every time. Also, I'm down to 6,300 hit points, and the Gaida has still got 90% or so of his hit points. Looks like Dunkirk has decided that he's not sure he wants to come pushing right through there. I'm going to put a few torpedoes in his way. He's angled very well, so it remains to be seen whether I will land any of these. But if I can land one or two, that'll certainly help. You can see our Furutaka and Ram are both angled and kiting away. Our Koenig, though, is he's just pushing right in. He's pushing right into a Gaida and 3 battleships. My guess is a pretty inexperienced player, but there's nothing you can do about that. And big picture, when we take a look at the scoreboard, we're up by roughly 150, 160 points. We've only lost 2 ships. The bad guys have lost 4. They are down 2 Königsbergs and 2 destroyers, and we're down in Omaha and a Podvoisky. My torpedoes, well, they weren't as effective as I would have hoped, but they did slow down the Dunkirk. I've got decent range on these torpedoes. You can see on the mini-map there, it's a 10-kilometer range. I have to try really hard. Down goes the Koenig. There's no surprise there. He just kept pushing in, and there's just too much out there. We'll see whether I get any luck here. I think Ismail's going to turn in. He's on the edge of the map. He's probably going to head for that smoke. And I put the torpedoes on too tight a line, I think. So I think they're just going to pass harmlessly between everything. The guy is pushing straight at me. I got to be really careful here. I do not want to get detected. It's just me and the Fubuki with 6,300 hit points and 2 cruisers. And I'm going to have to smoke again. I can't afford to start taking fire from all these guys. Yeah, you can see. That's what I'm talking about. In a gunfight, I really, in a Fubuki, I don't really have any chance against the Gaida. And, another concern is if he just decides to come right at me, this ship's not fast enough, really, to get away. So, yeah, that was a complete bust on my torpedoes that time. They're doing a little bit of wiggling. So I'm going to try and create a little bit of distance between myself and that Gaida. Just want to get these torpedoes away before I do that. Get out of my smoke. And I can remember saying something along the lines of, he's going to torp my smoke ramp, so angle up. And you can see the ram is doing just that, trying to avoid taking any damage from those torpedoes. Our Furutaka turned around and is heading right into him. He's making the same mistake the Koenig did, and so I'm just, hey man, go the other way. Just keep running. My hope here is that I might get lucky with some torpedoes. If we can take out that Koenig that's over there, this game gets a little bit easier on this flank, but we've got 3 battleships still and a destroyer over here. Meanwhile, our team on the other side has been very successful. You can see our
engine boost deactivated.
Furutaka may have just run out of luck entirely. So we are down 5 ships. The bad guys are down 5 ships. Our New Mexico is pushing north along the 10 line. I'm not sure about that decision, but And what are you going to do? This tier, you get a lot of new players. In fact, recently I've noticed a lot of players with, 100 to 200 games, which is just holy cow. But we are starting to get a little bit more support on this side. Get a New York moving this way, and you can see that Fuzo, that's still in our cap, has he's set himself up, hoping for crossfires if the Dunk and Ismail continue to push forward. I put those out there because I don't really have any chance of hitting Ismail. I would have to throw the torps out where Arminakaze is right now and then hope. But Andrea Doria takes out our New York, and suddenly we're down 6 ships. The bad guys are only down 5. Now we're down 120 points, and Gaida has caught up to me. Thank goodness my smoke's about to come back up, because that's about the only chance I have of surviving this.
Smoke generator started.
I'm going to slow down. I was slowing down in the hope that he would shoot over me, but that didn't happen. So I've got to, once again, hope that he assumes I'm turned to throw torpedoes and that he's going to run north through that gap. I just have to create a little distance between myself and him. No, he did not do that. He is coming straight up my smoke. He's finally figured out, hey, I can chase this guy down. And Ram's not going to be able to help me much because he's been just trying to survive. The farther south he went, the less room he had. And eventually he was going to have to show broadside to some of those battleships. So I think at this point he was just trying to avoid getting spotted. I've got to try and avoid getting torpedoed here. And the Gaida having decided, I think at this point, I've got to chase down this Fubuki. I have to stay close enough to be able to help our Fuso. Gaida, I'm sure, is going to be angled up. Keep my guns in a place where I can get guns on the Gaida right away. Okay, now I have some idea where he is. Now, I'm far enough away, the Koenig's not going to be able to spot me when I fire, and the Gaida's in the smoke. He's just proximity detected by our Fuso. And this is going to be it for the Gaida. And I managed to help the Fuso finish him off and never got spotted. So now I can go to work on this Koenig. We're down to 5 ships, bad guys are down to 6. We're down 125 points. We've got a Pensacola that's pushing into an enemy Pensacola in their cap. He's not going to survive long. He's sitting broadside to the Andrea Doria up there. But didn't even take the Andrea Doria. The enemy Pensacola just finished him off. Fuso's putting in some work. I'm hoping I'm going to catch the Koenig. My hope here, I'm debating, but my hope is that he's going to continue to run, trying to get behind this island to create some real crossfires. But it remains to be seen what he's actually going to do. Yeah, he's not changing course. I'm going to put the torpedoes out there that I'm hoping will finish him off. And I'm going to reposition with the assumption that he's already sunk to be able to get torpedoes on the Dunkirk and the Pensacola. Now, I've got 286 hit points. If someone throws a half-full beer can out in front of this thing and I run into it, I'm going to explode. So I cannot get detected. But I want to stay as close as I can so that I can get torpedoes on that Dunk.
We
21
destroyed an
seconds.
enemy battleship.
You can see our Fuso's in big trouble. Now Ram is running for cover because he's got the Dunkirk and the Pensacola. And Pensacola guns are no joke. Bad guys finish off our Fuso. Ram's taking advantage of cover, and since the Koenig is gone, he can use that island to get himself turned around. Got a couple torpedo racks that are up and ready to go. And And I have to hope that the Dunkirk is going to push farther into the cap in an effort to try and finish Ram off. Now Ram comes around this corner sitting pretty much broadside. And he doesn't have a whole lot in the way of hit points. He's got his torpedoes out there. He's angling in now. And the Dunkirk is angling into him, which is really going to help my torpedoes be a little bit more effective. We're down to 3 ships. Bad guys are down to 4 ships. But that's not going to be true here in another few seconds. Currently down 120 points or so. Dunkirk's about to be sunk. Down he goes.
Enemy battleship destroyed.
3 ships to 3 ships. We're down 24 points. Our New Mexico is making for their cap. This is going to be close. Only got 4.5 minutes left in the game. Ram is pushing in, and I remember making a comment somewhere along the lines, right in this area of, I can't torp with you there, but it didn't really matter. Because Pensacola's guns, they hit really hard, and Pensacola, he's doing some thinking right now. What do I do? Do I push toward the last known position of torpedoes, or, which is, you know, the torpedoes that Ram sent out there? And he, I think, rightly figures, I think that Fubuki's out there on my western side, so I'm going to run for this far corner of the cap and wait on my Andrea Doria. So it's, each team's got 2 ships, and I'm counting on our Mexico. My hope is that our New Mexico is going to run for Bravo 5, right, and just sit in the cap. Meanwhile, I'm trying to get close enough to get into my cap to stop our losing points, but I don't want to get into our cap just yet. And now I'll just kind of sit here on the edge. Or I can run if he turns around and comes right back at me. So I threw 1 set of torpedoes out ahead of what I considered the likely trajectory of the battleship. Threw out a few more where I thought I might catch the Pensacola, but he's turning into me now. I think I dropped those torps a little bit too far ahead of the Andrea Doria. I'm going to have to reset the cap. Now you can see that our New Mexico, I do manage to land one on his nose. Ram was, he meant New Mexico there, not New York, but same difference. He's exhorting our New Mexico not to fire and not to get spotted. And I'm going to have to reset the cap or we're going to lose. So I just want to wait as long as I can, and then I want to try and get these torps off. And then use the guns to get the cap reset. And I'm going to try and hit the battleship and the cruiser. Now if I'm able to get guns on the cruiser as well, watch the cap. Yeah, so now we're back to 3/4 of the cap. They've only got 1/4 of it capped. We're a little over halfway with the New Mexico. We've got this game in the bag as long as New Mexico does not get spotted or fire his guns. Yeah, okay. I wanted to make sure of that. Well, they don't get much closer than this. This was a super fun game. Really fun. And contrary to my usual luck in the Fubuki, I think we might have managed to eke out a win here. Well, what do you think? Do you have the Fubuki? Do you like the Japanese destroyer line? Do you feel like maybe it's been power crept into the dust? What do you think? And what do you think of how I played it today and my commentary? If you did enjoy it, I'd appreciate it if you consider liking and subscribing. If you have any ships in particular that you'd like to see me feature, I'd love to do that. Just let me know in the comments below, and you can always send game replay files to icop.na@gmail.com. I'm always happy to take a look at those, and you might see it here. Thanks again for joining me. Really appreciate it, and I'll see you next time.